Tell us about your first kiss with each other.
We were in Union Square and going to this nice little cute wine bar over there, and it just felt right.
He was walking me home from a party, tapped me on the shoulder, like turned me around and gave me a kiss down the street.
Yeah.
The first kiss, we were dancing, and it was like supposed to be a girls' night out, but like a legit girls' night out, but then it turned into like the L word or something out of nowhere. Like, it was a dare. I dared her. I was like, if you walk up to me any closer, I'm gonna kiss you. And then she got sassy, and she was like, mwah.
We kissed in front of an ATM. I think he needed to make a withdrawal, and then he just kissed me.
That's right. I was actually singing on a cruise ship that Layla was working on as well.
It was in his stateroom, and we knew pretty much immediately that we had to hold on to this.
When she left the room, I totally danced around. I full out dance party by myself.
We went to this pier in Brooklyn, and we ended up kissing, and while we were kissing, we heard like...
It was dark, and it was
dark.
It was like the moon was like
shining
on us, and everything else was very dark.
People were moaning.
It was a lot of like weird people.
But it was a magical moment because we were in our own world, although those noises like were around.
We spent that week together in Florida.
Yes.
And it progressively became obvious that we were
We
not
just kind of like
just friends.
Kept cuddling, and then we finished watching Kissing Jessica Stein, and then just ended up having that kiss, and so on and so forth.
That's a little spicy.
I think they want spicy. Tell them.
Y'all want spicy? Oh, okay. Well, we can get spicy. He tricked me into coming to his house and staying, but I kind of knew that that's what it was. Nobody's dumb. And so I'm like, okay, well, we gonna kiss since I'm gonna be over here at nighttime, like acting like we're gonna watch a movie. So I just went in for the kill.
And all I needed was that the initiation. It was on and popping from there.
I mean, all this chocolate, and you're not gonna try to get a kiss from me? I mean, really?
I had invited him over to my house for movies, and I think he had wanted a kiss for a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we kind of did this like upside down Spider-Man thing. Kiss.
I felt like Peter Parker that day.
We were always dancing together, always performing together, but she would never, open up to me. I was always trying. My first move, we were performing Sleeping Beauty. She was Sleeping Beauty, and I was the prince, of course. And I had to kiss her on that scene.
On stage, yeah.
We never rehearsed that.
Sleeping.
But I was so ready to kiss her.
Yeah, it was
It was supposed to be a little kiss, and then I was
It was
like...
a kid's show.
I didn't stop,
And he did that, yeah.
And
And
I was so
everybody
happy.
in the wings were like watching, like,
he kissed her.
We were at a club, and I was, I liked her a lot, and I was trying to move in. I think that, I could sense that it was going to be okay, and I thought it was great. She's a great kisser.
I invited her to go with me to China, and at that point, we kissed, but she didn't go.
The first kiss? It was good. There was a lot of chemistry, I think. Initially, we had both been single for a number of years, so we spent the weekend together.
Yeah, we did.
You don't remember our first kiss? I think we were waiting for pizza in a parking lot, and we were just kind of sitting there waiting for the pizza to be done, and it was cold, so we were just, snuggling a little, and then I think it was very natural. He just leaned over and kissed me, and I was like, wow, that was our first kiss.
It was a long time ago.
Our second date was at the neighborhood pool,
Yeah.
and my sister decides to show up to
Right.
spy.
I remember going back to Jill's house. I think it was sometime after that, probably.
I guess the first kiss was that in my convertible?
Yeah.
In my sports car? Yes, we went to the beach, and we had, on our first date, with the top down on the convertible, and it was a wonderful first kiss. Any comments from you?
No.
On our first date, we drove up to a light. It was red. He looked at me, I looked at him, and it was dark out, and we just kissed, and I said, I just knew I loved him.
Was it the
We
car?
went to a drive-in movie. It was Marlon Brando. The Men? Was it The Men?
The Men.
I have no idea what the movie was about.
No, I don't either.
Our first one?
Kiss.
It wasn't memorable.
You took me for cocktails at the hotel in Herzliya. And I don't
had to get you drunk?
Yes.
I don't even remember. I could not. I don't remember.
How did your partner first ask you out?
We first met through an online dating site, and it was in the middle of summer, and we just never met up. And then when I returned to work in the fall, I'm a teacher, one of my coworkers said that she had this great guy she wanted to set me up with. And as soon as she showed me the picture, I said, wait a minute. And we finally made a date.
Her senior year, my sophomore year in college, we were friends for about a year. I guess I would say that I made the first move one night, and we just kissed.
We were working at a company, and she was the only other brown woman there.
Yeah.
And I saw her, and I walked up the ramp, and she was chewing gum. And I said, are you really going to pop your gum like that?
So I was like, okay, so she's not going to be my friend.
And we were friends for like 8 years before there was a first kiss. We look back on pictures now when we were friends, and we were in love. And we didn't know we were in love.
We really didn't.
My signature move was, hey, let me buy you a shot, and it worked.
She was my brother's wife's roommate, and she came to Israel for their wedding and then invited me to a New Year's Eve party.
I was actually singing on a cruise ship that Layla was working on as well. I asked her to lunch because I was trying to find the most approachable yet stern, not creepy way to hang out with her.
We went to college together, and yes, we've been best friends for 12 years. I always liked her, always was in love with her. One day we went out, and we went to IHOP, and then we did like a whole long day together. And then the next day I kind of just called and I was like, look, I'm falling for you, I'm in love with you. And she felt the same way.
Our couple of friends, they started making bets on when we get together, and we're like, what are you
And then we found out,
talking
they
about?
told us about it.
And then we ended up just
like
kind
that
of
day
getting
together.
I asked her out first, but it was like on, I was trying to play it off like on some friend stuff to, to kind of soften it in case she turned me down. You know how that goes.
So we was friends, but then he was acting like we were dating. It's just weird. Guys just do crazy stuff.
We were never friends in my book, honestly. That's what I made her think.
No, we was friends.
Okay, we were friends.
Facebook is my best friend, so in college we had a lot of mutual friends. So I've seen her plenty of times before, but I didn't want to be that guy who's like, hey, I see a pretty girl at a house party, let me go talk to her. So I waited until after the party later on that night. I sent her a message on Facebook, hey, how you doing?
He was hilarious, so that helped.
It does help.
Because you can't pick up people via Facebook. This is not a thing.
It's a thing now.
But I was the one that made the first move, and I kept making moves and moves and moves, and she was never into it.
He was actually a player. He likes to play with a lot of girls, so I was kind of scared of him. But it took maybe 2 years?
But you see, 2 years.
After 2 years, we were in a disco, and then in the street, we actually kissed.
I used to think that it was so cheap that we met in a bar, but now I think it's very quaint because there were no naughty texts or photos. We just saw each other and we liked each other.
We met at a gathering place for old hippies in Woodstock, New York. It was a Halloween party.
I moved in 3 weeks later.
I took her to Phantom of the Opera.
That was when we were in college, so it was very romantic, and he told me it was absolutely not a date, actually. That was the beginning of the date.
There we were at this Jewish singles event. I was kind of on the rebound, trying to get over somebody. Some friend of Bernard's kept following me around all evening long, and he didn't make the age cutoff for me. So at some point he brought Bernard around and said, I think you might like to meet this guy.
We had gone with ours separately to a concert in our hometown that they used to have for kids, the kids' concerts. We had mutual friends, and the mutual friends were going out with one another, and they wanted someone to go with them, like a double date, to an amusement park. And we've been together ever since.
We grew up next door to each other. We were both kindergarten together. We didn't see each other since high school, and I decided to have lunch with her, and then I decided to ask her out.
The thing is, my friend, she went and told him that I thought he was cute, And then the next time we saw each other, he said, "Why don't we go out Friday night?"
We met at Indiana University, and we dated for a year and a half or so.
And he and his friends sat behind me and made fun of my hair and my clothing. Do you want to add something?
What?
We met because we were working for the same company.
And at 18, I went into the Israeli army, and Charlie had to go to his brother's wedding in the States. It took just too long, so I finished my army service and I flew to Australia.
I told her, rather than flying back to Israel, come to the United States, I'll be responsible. She did go home, but it was like
After
two and a half years later with an 8-month-old daughter.
My brother was a third-year student, and he thought that he should get me a date for a big spring weekend since I was sophomore in college at that point.
And they considered me but immediately rejected me as inappropriate. And we were at the same party, and my date wasn't feeling very well, and she went back to her room, and I figured, well, I might as well go back to the party, and I thought this girl looked very nice. And at the end of the weekend, I asked her date whether he had any particular claims on her, and he said, not particularly. So I called her up and asked her to go to see Mrs. McThing, which was playing.